3. Thank you for joining us here this evening. We're very happy to have you here with the co-host, the co-founder, the co-breather of air, the co-wearer of clothes in this virtual room. It is none other than the King of Sting, the Count of Monte Cristo, the Thunderlips, the ultimate male. It is none other than the winner of the Dave Stockbridge of the Year award, and it is not there with you at the moment, but it is residing somewhere.
It's safe.
In the ether.
It's safe.
It is the illustrious award held by the illustrious man with the illustrious beard. It is none other than your friend and mine. It is Dave Stockbridge.
Well, thank you very much for that very, very warm welcome, as always, Hollywood Matt Connolly. And tonight we're joined by a very, very special guest. You might know him as the Dragster. Certainly many, many people do. And there's a very good reason for that. And we're about to find that out as well very, very shortly. But he arose to fame at AWE Grand Prix 2, where he shocked the world with his performance. But in that performance, he injured himself and still came back to compete, earning the admiration of the arm wrestling world. Ladies and gentlemen, it's our pleasure to present to you Alex, the Dragster McKinnon! And Alex, let's get to the bottom of it. Now, we know how Hollywood Matt Connolly got his nickname, but we don't know much about how you got yours. So the Dragster, how did that come about?
It was within the first few months of me joining the Canberra club. And it wasn't because I was really fast like a drag car, but it was more because I just relied pretty much just on my lap drag when I was starting out. And it just kind of stuck from there.
So it had nothing to do with the lust of 1970s bicycles, or there was no references, no?
Okay. Yeah, nothing cool like that. Drag I was doing, and yeah.
And have you kept with that technique? Are you still dragging to this day?
Yeah. It's one of my favorite exercises. The lap drag. It has sort of changed a little bit, my style. I've gone more into the hooking sideways.
Yeah.
And now I've had a few elbow pops. I'm trying to sort of change it up again. And
you're going outside, are you? You're looking at the outside world. Instead of the hooking game, you're looking at maybe moving into the pronation.
Sort of getting a little bit more on the bicep and getting things off the elbow for a while, just until I sort of recover.
And for those that might have known, maybe step us through how that injury occurred.
Yeah, so it was in the very first, well, actually it was the second round against Ryan Bowen in the AWE match that we had. So he'd flashed me in the first round with the top roll, and it was the second round where I caught right near the pad, and then we ended up into a hook. I did maybe 2 or 3 surges, and then I felt that big pop. Could hear it.
It sounded nasty at the time. The whole room gasped when it happened. We weren't quite sure what went pop or if something had broken, and all eyes were on you in that moment. Did you have a sense as to what had happened at that time?
Well, it felt pretty significant. Like I've never heard anything like it, or there wasn't a lot of pain though. Maybe it was the adrenaline as well that sort of helped with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I felt that I just stopped. Like the instinct was to stop the match. I didn't know what happened. So I gathered myself for a bit. Sort of felt it out, and didn't feel like anything major had happened at the time. So decided to keep going there.
This is the match here. So talk us through this moment. So you're down 1-0 to Ryan. What was the plan at this point? So you've caught that. You've come back to the middle. You've gone inside.
Yeah, the plan was just to shoot back and use my cupping. I felt that was the only way I was going to get a stop, and which I ended up doing in that second round. But I was kind of disappointed because I felt like I was just starting to get into the match. He felt very solid. It was like just hitting into a brick wall, and then we had the pop that happened there. And and yeah, the plan was still to catch him into a hook on the later rounds there, but I think I gassed out quite a bit. After
Now
that.
you're versing the referee as well, and
Yeah. I said to Ben, look, I just want to give you some pressure there to see to feel if anything feels kind of broken, if there's any pain there. There wasn't really at that time. I'd never really felt any major pain until the next day with that one.
Yeah. Well,
And did you feel at the time, Ryan, actually pushing your hand to the pin pad just in case it still might have counted as a pin? Did you notice that at the time? Because it did pop up in the conversation on the ref's mic where Ryan's asking the question. Hang on, wasn't that a pin? I got him down. And referee in this case. So Tim Graham said no, it was actually an elbow foul because you lifted your elbow off the pad before before the back of the hand had met the pin pad.
The instant that happened, I thought I was done. Like I was just like, I'm out of here. Like I was prepared to lose that round really, because it felt pretty bad, but I was glad that it was just a foul there, and I had another chance to sort of see if I could get back in the match, but he was too quick in the right area.
So you've gone to straps here. This is after the injury, and he's just as you can see, it's just that really fast. So you did catch it on the first one, and almost got it there, but he just managed to get you that 1 inch further than you needed to get that bicep engaged.
Yeah.
And I guess at this stage, we're just expecting that's it from you. We just thought, well, that's right. You're back on the plane to Canberra. We won't even see you at the post-match burger party. But then later that day, you returned to the table.
Yeah. Like I said, I didn't really feel much pain there on the day after that happened. And I felt, I can continue on. I switched things up to sort of hit more backwards than sort of go sideways, because I didn't really want to get too supinated and just jam my elbow in there after that. So I just thought I'd see how it'd go.
I think everyone at this point was wondering if you were injured and just watching in great interest as to what's going to happen here. Is he hurt? Isn't he hurt? We don't know what's going to go. Yeah. There was a lot of interest all of a sudden in whether or not you were able to continue. But not only did you continue, but you continued fantastically and got several more wins in the tournament.
Yeah, I didn't want to go out like that. Like just having something pop in and. Having something pop in the elbow and then just throwing the whole thing. So I just thought I'm just going to see how I go. If I feel like something really bad, like a bad pain, I'll bow out then. But I ended up doing pretty well in the next two matches, better than I anticipated. So
we've gone inside here with Stephen Carroll. He is a hooker as well, but you were able to contain his power quite comfortably and just very, very smoothly drive to the pad. Any pain on that match?
No. I was very relieved at that because I was pretty nervous going into that match. I knew Steve likes to pull inside, so I knew things would probably get pretty heavy on the elbows there. He did make some adjustments on that second round, and I had to sort of wait that second match out. I couldn't really drive through him. Also very nervous coming into this one against Marcus. I was expecting a really big hit, so I thought I'm just going to try and hit backwards, and if he rips open my bicep and gets me that way, then cool.
So you're going to drag back like a dragster?
Yeah, I was going to do the full dragster. I did not want to go too far sideways and sort of get ripped open that way.
And
God, you were close. You were so close to getting the pin there. You were finger distance away from getting that.
Yeah.
I want to see how close that was actually, because that was
tantalizingly. Yeah.
So here we go, and look at this right there.
And-
Oh, God, that was close.
Oh, maybe Tim missed that one.
I don't know. I don't think it got there, but it was bloody
Oh.
close.
Oh,
So we go to strap. Any pain on that first round?
Yeah, I think there was a little bit of fatigue on the elbow.
Ooh.
so now you're starting to feel like maybe this is maybe more serious. This is a little bit more than just a niggle.
Yeah. Like it wasn't crazy bad. Like I've gotten at the end of a 3-hour session with the Canberra club, like my elbows, you know, they're pretty lit up anyway. So it didn't feel anything out of the ordinary.
You've mentioned before you tend to spend more time in the gym than you do on the table.
Yep. Yeah. I work remotely. So I'm at work camp now. We travel out tomorrow, but yeah, like I don't get a lot of time to be on the table. So it's probably I would average probably once every 6 weeks on the table, and gym work.
Wow.
So here we go. Marcus sitting in his king's move. He was very comfortable to really give that up, but there you go. You've rolled through him. It looked like off the start, like you had that real dominant hand position. Like Marcus was palm up instantly on that. And he was holding with his bicep from the very start of that round. Yeah, and you sort of just were able to sit comfortably, use your body weight, and just keep leaning on him until his bicep couldn't hold it anymore.
And what I find really interesting about that is that Charles Puri was essentially running a very similar playbook against Marcus Satiro and wasn't able to successfully finish him off. And you were either you caught him fatigued or you just had enough pressure there in order to gas him out and get him to the pin pad without getting tied up for too long as well.
Maybe, yeah. They had some big wars though. I think he was pretty burnt out after that, and I think he had a match with Ricard as well.
Don't be too hard on yourself. Your elbow also snapped in two. I mean, it made that noise anyway. So, I mean, Marcus might have been a bit tired, but you know,
he didn't have a broken elbow. Yeah,
didn't have a fracture. Yeah.
Well, the difference I could see between the two matches with Charles and Marcus and Alex and Marcus was that hand position off the get go. And with the match with Charles, Marcus was able to hold pronation, whereas Alex turned him palm up instantly. So if you've got pronation, you can sit in that king's move pretty comfortably. If you're like this, your bicep is holding, and your bicep is a muscle that's going to get tired very quickly.
Yeah. So my strategy was just to keep my hand as high as I could and just drag straight back and cup, which seemed to work fairly well.
But with a hand the size of Marcus Satiro, sometimes it's just hard holding on.
Yeah.
Did you get on the table with Marcus, Dave?
Well, yeah, a little bit, but you just grip his hand. It's like 3 kilos of steak that you're trying to wrap your hands around. It's not normal.
Yeah, it's hard to even cap your own thumb. Like it's yeah.
Yeah, it's as close as I can get. Yeah.
Well, here we go. So yeah, again, you've secured that hand position. He's got pronation, but you've got complete hand control here. You're way up on top of his knuckles. I don't think he's going to be able to come back from that point.
I didn't rush in this. That might have helped me because I thought, I don't want to blow anything in the elbow. I'm just going to stay in control as much as possible and see what happens.
Now, the room really lit up then because of 2 reasons. One, you've come back from people just thinking that you were done and right. They'd written you off. They weren't expecting to see you back on the table at all. And then you've gone through this David and Goliath like struggle against Marcus Satiro, who's some 60 plus kilos heavier than you, and been able to walk away with a big win, and then you find yourself back on the table with the man that you sustained the injury with in that very early round of the event, and go straight inside, no hesitation. And how are you feeling at this stage?
At this stage, I'm hitting more backward than I am sideways. I'm trying to pull this way as much as possible, and I ended up burning out there, and Ryan, he was much too solid in the hook. his pronation.
Yeah. Very almost mirror images from the positional wise for your bodies there, but it looked like he was able to sustain the hit that you threw, and when he drove forwards a little bit, your arm sort of opened up, which may have just been that point, but you're pretty close from what it looks like there.
Yeah.
Yes, at about this stage that Ryan's saying to himself, maybe I shouldn't have put Alex's name forward in the first place, because your name came up as a result of Ryan Bowen's suggestion, and I'm wondering if he was just regretting it at this moment. So
that's what I was saying before you jumped on pre-podcast, Dave, that when Ryan was we were looking for a replacement and Alex's name came up. And Ryan had said, "Oh yeah, Alex McKinnon, yeah, he's really solid, great guy out of Canberra. He's won lots of tournaments and stuff." And I'm like, "I've never heard of him. Who is it? Who is this guy?" And he's like, "It was probably 2 weeks, I think." I was like, "Yeah, okay, Alex McKinnon, all right, yeah." Ryan,
yeah, you think, why don't we get that Dragster guy? He's fantastic. I've heard he's pretty good.
As soon as Ryan said the Dragster, I was like, "Oh, now I know who it is." Right? Yeah, he's awesome.
And here we go.
So right here, you're giving it everything. Well, you look pretty comfortable in that spot.
You did look very comfortable there.
Ryan,
did you feel strong. Like if you could just get set there and yeah.
I feel like probably a lack of conditioning maybe is why the elbow sort of popped like it did. I feel like you can get strong with weights that I've found. Like as far as peak force in the movements that you need to do in the table, if you can replicate that in the weight room, you can get really strong. But there's one thing I think that I'm lacking is the conditioning of being hit and hitting into people. I could probably benefit a lot more table time, and in this year I want to get on the table a lot more and sort of evolve my game a little bit more to do other things other than just pull inside.
Well, let's have a little bit of a chat about 2025, and obviously early 2025 is really about recovering and getting that elbow right and good. How is that going so far?
Yeah, coming back from AWE, I just dropped the weight on everything. I just did really light band work to start off with. Kept everything at about like 10 to 20 kilos, and with side pressure, I just didn't really touch it for a couple of weeks. Now I'm back up to about maybe 30 kilos on side pressure, and nothing feels weird there. I haven't been on the table yet since AWE, but on Friday I plan to go to Canberra and I'll probably get a good indicator there as to how the elbow's doing. I went to a doctor, and but before we went into detail about it, they just said, "Look, you got golfer's elbow. Just rest it for a bit." I haven't really looked into doing any scans, MRIs, or anything yet.
Mm-hmm. I had a golfer's elbow on my left arm for a long period of time when I was probably 2 years in, and then in that third year, it just started getting this pain like right around here. Every time I would be in defense, and from there to there, like if someone pulled me from there to there, it would just be like, oh, it would hurt so bad on this spot. And then I was getting pins and needles through this area. So I rested it, and then the pins and needles just sort of kept getting worse. I rested it for a year. By the end of the year, my whole hand and all up my arm to my neck was tingling at all times. I was like, this is not good. I need to get this checked out. So I got an ultrasound. The guy had I don't know what the thing is, the device is, they put that gel on you and then they touch the ultrasound thing on. He pushes it on there, and 1 second later he goes, "Yeah, this golfer's elbow, mate." He goes, "You'll need cortisone for that." And I was like, "Oh, all right then." And then he comes back in with a nurse, and they just inject the cortisone right there and then. And I was like, "Oh, all right." And then it was the next day, it was fine. It's been fine ever since. So he said that what happens with that, with tennis elbow and golfer's elbow, your body gets in this cycle of inflammation, and there's a small injury there that can't heal because your body keeps inflaming it, keeps sending like inflammatory signals to it constantly. And what the cortisone does is it stops that area from inflaming so the actual injury can heal itself. So I still stayed off the table for another 2 weeks, even though it felt fine. But yeah, instantly the pins and needles had stopped. And when I got on the table, I was like, okay, it seems to be all right. And yeah, it's been fine ever since.
Yeah. I feel a lot of pain in my left elbow, as well. It's just I can't do the weights that I used to do on my right with it, so I don't push it too hard. But yeah, it's got a little bit of a pain in there whenever I do like heavy wrist curls or heavy anything to the side.
Yeah, that's one of the annoying things about the sport, isn't it? It's always the small little joints and small little areas of your wrist or your elbow or like your shoulder or something that it's like, why is that hurting? What is that thing? It's this tiny little joint.
Yeah. And you get something else somewhere in your wrist and then it'll move to your elbow and you're sort of juggling injuries, it feels like.
Yes. Yeah, sorry, you go, Dave.
So, Alex, one of the things I really enjoy about our tournaments and with Grand Prix has been the stars that have emerged from it. And you're certainly one of those stars. I was fond of saying after the event, although Rickard Borman might have walked away with the belt, I think one of the big winners from AWE Grand Prix was Alex McKinnon. And I think in part because within that event structure, there was this real storyline that for you where you came in as an underdog. Maybe people weren't so familiar with your name as they might have been with some of the others. You've kind of come out of the shadows and then so early on built a great deal of empathy and support with the crowd that were there, who heard the pop and thought, and almost at that point went, oh well, that's the end of Alex McKinnon, and then saw you come back again, but not just come back, but come back and win. And of course, Aussies love an underdog. They love it when they see that. And you had the admiration of the room by the time that the event was done. And so, like I say, Rickard Borman might have walked away with the belt, but certainly you walked away with a whole new range of supporters after that event.
Yeah, I did a lot better than I thought I would. I was pretty happy with my performance.
And is there anybody who is on your radar in 2025 that if you can get this elbow back and you can get yourself back up to that same form that you were in at AWE Grand Prix 2 or better, who's starting to surface on your radar as a potential next opponent?
Tyler Harrison from Club. That's a match I would very much like to have. And I definitely want to be 100% before that one, because I know I think that's going to be a war. It's going to be very heavy on the elbows, and that's a match I would like to have.
He's a brutal one to come into contact with after you've had an elbow pop as well, because he is called the Hitman for a reason, and he's off the line. He is a brutal. So you might be asking for a little bit of punishment first match back there.
Yeah, I remember pulling him on the after table after AWE, and he was a little bit too much for me on the day there, on the after.
Wow.
That's Tyler Harrison there, holding 150 kilos of stretch. Joel Hewitt desperately trying to get his top roll game engaged, but Tyler too strong holding with his bicep there. You can see why this would be a great match between Alex McKinnon and Tyler. It would be an absolute inside war. And look at the face on Tyler there. He knows he's got that win and he's just holding on. He's just got to wait it out. There it is. He's going to roll through it at some point. There, he's gone for the press. He's got the win.
Because it's crazy strong too. I was ripping up with him. I think it was It was after AWE1 at the club, at your club. Just that top roll, like ton of back pressure he had even then. I don't even think he was that long in the sport, so he's pretty strong as well.
Yeah, and training under Lachlan Adair, I believe, as well. So he's got a good coach in his corner there, making sure that he's doing all the right movements, and
Yeah.
and I think it's working for him as well. You know, he's definitely there's not. I don't think there's a single thing that he does on the table now that's worse than what it was before, and everything that he did really well before, he's doing even better now. So he's that's how he earned his spot at the Grand Prix, because we could just see that he's doing all the right things. You know, he's got a great mentor, he's training super hard in the gym, and he's so young, and his best growth is still ahead of him, you'd think, as well.
Yeah, definitely. I remember gripping, I think I gripped Tyler, it was after AWE 1 event. That was at the Oval there, Norwood. And yeah, I did, like I said, I gripped him at the most recent event. And yeah, I think he's definitely leveled up from what he was.
Yeah, it's very much one of those guys that will be incredibly disciplined and follow the instructions of somebody else to the letter. And having somebody as meticulous as Lachlan Adair as your coach, I remember Tyler just sort of talking me through the exercises that he does, you know, for hand and wrist and all that sort of thing. Very complicated, well, not complicated, but very in depth,
intricate.
Yes, intricate, very specific, slight, you know, little adjustments, but he was doing these things every day, as well as the table time on top. So yeah, and I was like, I'm not really feeling a difference in the first 6 weeks, but then 6 months later, I was like, oh my God, his wrist feels unstoppable.
Wow.
Yeah. He's a very impressive young man. That's a very interesting matchup. That's something that we, Matt, I think we're going to have a bit of a chat about off air and see if we can make happen in 2025. What do you think you're going to be ready for your comeback, Alex?
I'm hoping maybe the middle of this year. I'm hoping.
He's got to get back on the table first.
That'll give us a
fair bit.
Yeah. Well, that gives us all something to look forward to, because I think a matchup between you and Tyler Harrison would be an absolute cracker. I think stylistically it's a great match, and I can't wait to see that under the big bright lights at AWE, mate. That's a very, very exciting matchup. Two young Australians really cementing their place at a regional, national level in that top 10, top 15, but by the same token, sticking their hands up for international opportunities. I think that's a great matchup. So Hollywood McKinnon, do you want to throw to the comments and say good day to a few people before we head off for the night?
Sure, absolutely. We've got some of the regular awesome people that always love to jump in on every stream. This man here especially is one of the legends of arm wrestling streams. I don't think I've seen an arm wrestling stream without him on it. And within 5 seconds of me hitting that live button, he was already in here. He doesn't sleep. That's why it's the Drew 24. There is 24 versions of him. Just making sure that they cover all the arm wrestling streams that are going on around the world. And he's even giving us a nice little shout out there for the AWE T-Series channel, which is our tournament series channel. So we're going live on that at the moment. We've got Greg Rio from Southeast Asia and Eastside Arm Wrestling has jumped in. He says hello to the Drew as well. Everyone knows the Drew. If you've no arm wrestling, if you've watched an arm wrestling video ever, you'll see the Drew in the comments. Yeah. Josh Barker is here as well. He is he's definitely the number one in Australia for under 70 kilos. And he is a formidable arm wrestler at any weight, but especially in the under 70 kilo category. So hello to Josh. Always great to see him here. We've got Cobus Prinz, who's just jumped in here. He says he can't wait for all the matches. It is going to be awesome. Thank you, sir. Yes, we always love putting on events, and our next event we're looking at March, the end of March. So we'll have more details as it comes together. But,
March 23rd. Let's just say, put it in your diary.
There you go. All right. So should we wrap things up? Do we have Alex? Do you have a place where people could follow you, or do you post on social media, that sort of thing?
Yeah. I have Instagram. That would be Canberra Dragster on Instagram.
There you go.
Canberra Dragster.
I'll have to start putting some more training vids up soon, and yeah, probably get some table time footage up as well.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Very
Well,
interesting.
everybody head over and follow Alex McKinnon right now. Make sure that you're keeping up to date, because this young man is a superstar of the future, having made his way onto the AWE stage last October. He is now part of the conversation when we're talking the best heavyweights in the region. So please head over, follow Alex McKinnon. Importantly, follow his journey as he heads into AWE sometime in the middle of this year. We might have to let Tyler know he's got a reason to start training.
That's right, absolutely.
And Hollywood Matt Connolly, any final thoughts before you head away? I think we've got Ashley Hoyetta on the podcast tomorrow night, so something to look forward to. We go from one of the strongest young men here in Australia to the strongest woman in the world. Big podcast tomorrow night.
Absolutely, yes. Thank you everyone for tuning in. We will wrap things up there. Any final thoughts at all, Alex?
No, not really. Thanks for having me, guys. And I'm looking forward to bounce back and get on the table real soon.
Fantastic.
So good. We're looking forward to seeing you back on the table, mate. And thank you very much for coming over and being a big part of so many of our AWE events. You've either been there or you've been watching. And last time to see you compete on the table was absolutely amazing. And we can't wait to see what's to come in 2025 for you.